Hi, my name's Emmeline.
Hi, my name's Tori.
Hi, my name's Nicole.
And welcome to the Dope Student Podcast. So who are we here with and what is your profession?
My name is Neil Amadio. I am a glazing instructor at the Finishing Trades Institute.
Okay, so hi Nell, and today we're going to ask you some questions.
Can you explain what a union glazier does in the simple terms and how their work contributes to the construction industry?
So Glazier, so we are the men and women in Philadelphia who put all the glass in the high rises. We put all the windows in the schools. We put all the doors on the Wawas, the mirrors in the bathrooms. So any aspect of glass that you see on a job site, we're the men and women installing that. And what was the second part of that question?
And how does your work contribute for the construction industry?
So usually as a glazer, we are the last ones in, right? So we're the ones that are closing up the building, making it weatherproof, keeping everybody warm or comfortable in the summer. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, and what inspired you to become a union glazier, and what did you enjoy most about your job?
So what I enjoy most about my job, I'll start there, is so for the last year I've been a full-time teacher, but in the field, I really enjoy going to a different job site every day, right? Kind of doing something different. We work as a team, so you're never alone. You're never failing alone, right? You're doing it together, making it happen, and with more than one head in the situation, you're always going to succeed. How did I become a glazer? My father was a glazer, my uncle was a glazer, my grandfather was a glazer, and it was either I become a glazer or I don't know what I would have done.
So it ran in the family?
It ran in the family.
Okay. How does the process of installing glass in buildings work, and what are some of the challenges you face on the job?
So the process of installing glass, so we can start from the beginning. So, you know, when we get to a job site, there'll be a rough opening with the carpenters usually frame up. So we'll have one of our project managers go out and measure the opening, come up with a frame size. Then in their shop, glazers will fabricate a frame out of metal, kind of like what you guys did when you came to our shop last week. They'll fabricate the frames in the shop and then bring them back to the site, install them, make sure they're weather tight, and then put the glass in the frame.
Okay. Safety is crucial in any profession. Can you share some of the safety measures and protocols that union glazers follow to ensure a secure work environment?
Yeah, so I mean, if you think about a glazer, we're hanging off the side of buildings, right? And we're standing in openings with no glass or no frames in them. So you see that and you're like, I'm scared of heights. I don't want to be out there. But we take every measure to keep every one of our members safe. And that starts, you know, the first day in our apprenticeship, we're getting OSHA trained. We're getting, fall protection trained. You know, we're not putting anybody in a position where they can, you know, get hurt. Unfortunately, it happens sometimes, but we're wearing harnesses, we're wearing lanyards, we're on high reaches. You know, everything is safety is number one before anything else.
Okay. What are some of the typical tools and equipment used by union glazers, and how do they vary depending on the type of project?
So we pretty much use every tool imaginable. From saws to hand tools. One of our the tools that we use specifically is a vacuum cup, which you guys kind of seen when you were setting glass at our, you know, you pump it up and it's a handle that you can put on the glass that helps you set the glass. So that's a tool that we use that basically no other trade uses. That's specific to glazing.
In the construction industry, teamwork is essential. How do union glazers collaborate with tradespeople to complete a project successfully?
So I was a foreman for a long time, and really, you know, you think about you're just going to get a job done, right? You're going to show up to a job and install these frames, but it's a lot more than that. You have to make sure that when you get to this job, you're communicating with the other trades. So we couldn't just come to this room and install windows, without talking to the duct guys and the electricians, just to make sure that they don't have something else going on in that room at the same time. So there's a lot of communication, and it's hard. When I first got in, I couldn't communicate. I didn't really know how to talk to people. And the more you do it, just like anything else, like you're not sure about yourself for anything that you do. Like here, you guys are learning little bits and pieces of electrical. And when you leave here, you're not going to be pros, but you're going to have a good understanding of how it goes together, and you're not going to be scared to do it. And that's how you have to look at communication. You have to start little bit at a time, and eventually you'll be able to talk to people. And and maybe you can talk to the guys that are working in the room when you come there and say, like, tomorrow, can we start here? And they can move on to the next room, because that's what you have to do. Everybody has a job to do, and everybody has tunnel vision too, right? They're all thinking about their task at hand, and they're not worried about anybody else. But if you can come in there and explain to them that, maybe you have to do a couple windows in this room, communication goes a long way. Instead of just showing up and moving things and starting installing your windows without talking to anybody, because then you have a problem.
Okay. Can you share any interesting or unique projects you've worked on in the Union Glazier, and what made it special or challenging?
So the coolest project I did actually was through the Finishing Trades Institute. We had a collaboration with Jefferson University, and it was called the Merge Project. What we did, we had students from the architectural program and apprentices collaborate and build it was an art piece that was put down at 9th and I think downtown somewhere on Jefferson University. But to get an understanding of what these young architects were thinking, and they got to see how our minds worked, and we collaborated and made this beautiful project happen. And, they get to see where we're coming from, and we get to see where they're coming from. And, when you're in the field for as long as I have been, you don't really get to interact with architects too much. Usually they kind of design a job and then they move on. But to kind of be able to build that relationship, hopefully when them architects, get their own jobs and get out into the field, they're able to have a good understanding of where our mindset is. And again, it's like communication. They can come to us with a problem and maybe problem solve together, because we know what we're talking about.
Okay. As technology evolves, how is it impacting the role of a union glazier? Are there any new tools or techniques that have emerged in recent years?
So technology, everything, is changing, right? One of the biggest things we have is if you look around at downtown Philly or anywhere, or even go to the mall, the glass is just getting bigger and heavier. So now one of the tools we have is a manipulator, it's called. It's a little crane that we can use, and it has vacuum cups on it that we'll use to set the glass. So with that being said, you need to be trained on how to operate this equipment, and have the right people in place to do it. So that's a big aspect, and it's actually saving people. Not as many people are getting hurt, because if you think about a piece of glass that is as big as the side of a building, in order to set that, you would need 20 guys and girls on that piece of glass to set it. But with this new equipment, you can do it with less men and women. So, there's less chance of injury. So that's a big change in the industry.
Union membership has its advantages, such as collective bargaining and respiration. Could you elaborate on how being a part of a union benefits a glazier's career?
So if you think about a glazier, obviously there's union glaziers and then there's non-union glaziers. The big difference is our collective bargaining agreement. And what that means is, you ever hear like that we're stronger together. Like, together we stand, we fall alone, right? But with us being stronger together, we have our business agents and reps in place that can negotiate our contracts with employers. Whereas a non-union glazer, if he has a problem at work, he may just get laid off and have to find a job someplace else. Maybe go to not saying that Home Depot's bad, or he may not be in the glass industry anymore. But as a union member, if something happens at one of the shops that I work at, there's 60 other shops that I could go get a job with. So I have somebody looking out for me to get me a job.
For middle school students interested in pursuing a career in the construction industry, what advice would you give them, and what steps should they take to become a union glazer in the future?
So what advice I would give you is, I was in the field for 27 years, right? And from the first day to the last day, I worked my tail off. I think that whatever you decide to do, whatever path you decide to take, whatever, if you want to go into electricians, plumbing, glazing, if you want to you need to be the best every day. You need to show up on time. You need to be present. And when I say present, you need to be aware of what's going on. Like, there's so many people that show up to work and they just show up to work and they're there. But I need you to, as if you were working with me, I need you to be my right hand, right? I need you to know exactly what I'm doing next, because that's what we do, right? If you can be right there for me, eventually you won't be an apprentice anymore, right? I'm giving you the tools to essentially take my job. So my advice would be to always be ready, always be prepared, always be on time, because we all start at the bottom, right? Sometimes we feel like we're insignificant and maybe we're just an apprentice. But me as a foreman, I'm going to give you little bits and pieces, little jobs to do, right? And then them jobs start to get bigger and bigger. Like, maybe I'll have you, go get break for everybody on the job, right? It starts there. And then maybe I'll have you go, set a couple pieces of glass in the opening. But as you knock them tasks off, I'm going to start giving you bigger tasks. And eventually I'm going to have you start running a crew, and then you're going to take my job, because that's what I want, right? So always show up for work. We all have bad days, but make sure that you're showing up to work on time and you're ready to go and you're giving 110% every day, because it's a competition, right? When we get to a job, there's a crew of people, and it is a competition between all of you, because we have a big job, but the next job might be smaller. We may need to lay a couple people off. You don't want to be that guy or girl, right? You want to be the one that they say, I love working with her, right? She's always there for me. Everything I ask her to do, she does. I want her to come to the next job with me, and that's the way it works.
Do you have any social media platform where we could reach you out on?
I'm on Instagram. My name, Neil Amadio, and Glazier's Local 252 has a Facebook page.
Thank you so much for watching another episode on the Dope Student Podcast. Bye.